Oh, wow. That went from bard to like full-on metal way faster than I was expecting.
You ready?
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Peter Barber here, professional opera singer and music producer, and today we're going to be checking out Burn, Butcher, Burn, metal cover from The Witcher by the great Dan Vasc. Just yesterday, was it yesterday? No, recently, like last week, I released his version of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, and I've already gotten tons and tons of suggestions for this one, so I figured I'd fire it up and yeah, dive in. Guys, this is a reaction and analysis, so I will be pausing primarily to talk about Dan's vocal technique that he uses, as well as other musical elements I see fit. If you find that I enhance your Dan Vasc experience, please do consider joining my Patreon for benefits as little as $1 a month, but you can also join for free and just kind of check it out and see what's going on over there. Otherwise, please do like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let's get into it.
You're alive. How disappointing. I also survived. No thanks to you.
I love seeing Dan be like really theatrical and kind of exploring his voice with, you know, a voice acting sort of quality to it, not just, you know, straight up singing, but using some of that voice acting, some of that character, you know, those character vocal colors and mannerisms and things like that. I like how this, actually, I'm not sure, I don't yet remember this song from the show yet. I finished the show, I guess 3 or 4 months ago probably, but I assume this is Jaskier, the bard, singing this one as well. I remember Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. I'm not sure I remember this one yet. But I, again, like how Dan is starting it very simply, you know, just stringed instrument and voice. And then, of course, he will go into metal cover later, which, of course, is in all caps in the title, like it was for the other one. We will get the metal, but I like him starting it from, you know, much more like a bard, you know, a bard kind of arrangement of it.
I hear you're alive. How disappointing.
Yeah, this must be Jaskier. We get a nice little vocal fry on the start. Starting on the vocal fry, and then some other, and then what do you say? I hear, like the longest H in the world. Again, that's more, you know, voice acting technique. You know, I hear, right? Love it.
I hear you're alive. How disappointing.
And he goes out of chest voice into like a false forward growl there, because again, I've talked about this before. Dan does not have a low voice. He is very naturally like high baritone or first potentially tenor. You could absolutely make that argument. And so he doesn't have much low range. Just doesn't. So, you know, you can do a vocal effect like this when, you know, a lower singer might be able to carry that disappointing down into the chest voice. Dan goes down into kind of like a growl, sort of disappointing, and then gets those false folds activated to reach that pitch.
How disappointing. I also survived. No thanks to you. Did I not give her something, Mr. Wow, look at me now.
Oh, wow. That went from bard to like full-on metal way faster than I was expecting. Usually there'll be like some kind of interlude where we get, you know, the kind of metal instrumentation, the vocals come out. Dan is like, nah, I'm gonna give it to you right here. And he did his really high head voice, right, high falsetto gritty belt that I heard for the first time on Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. I think is such a cool technique he uses.
Did I not give her something, Mr. Wow?
High G 5, above tenor high C, below soprano high C. Really high. So in that lighter mechanism of singing, but because he's added all this grit and turbulence to the sound, it sounds very big and menacing. Such a cool technique he uses there.
Give us someday, Mr. Wow, look at me, now I'll burn all the memories of you.
And then it goes back to Bardland. We get usually, with commercially produced music like this, there's more compression to create a kind of even volume throughout. But this is very true to kind of how it would be so far, where it's much quieter when he's singing light with the lute or whatever plucked instrument he's using, and then the metal. There's a very, I keep adjusting my volume over here because there actually is a very significant difference. Usually there's not in a polished recording. So it's kind of cool he's doing that.
Look at me, now I'll burn all the memories of you. All those lonely miles that you run, now you walk with no one by your side.
This is cool. This is in 6/8. Or a fast 3/4, probably 6/8.
Now you walk with no one by your side.
I like how he jumps back and forth between these really clear, like musical theater kind of vocals on top, where his voice is just clear as a bell, super clean, and then he'll add a moment of harshness into the sound just to accentuate a word. Again, bring more of the drama, bring a little more voice acting into this musical performance. It really adds a lot, especially for these character pieces where you're doing something from a show. I've heard he's done a lot of stuff from musical theater and like Disney songs that I need to check out. I'm sure he does a lot of this kind of singing and voice acting combination for all those. So I'm interested to explore further. But this is a great example of just goes from this really clear, clean, very much singing to more of like a voice acting approach.
Now you walk with no one by your side. Did you ever even care with your swords and your super hair? Now watch me laugh as I burn all the memories of you.
So quiet, down to almost nothing, and it's probably about to explode again. See, that was what I was expecting earlier, right? We get the end of the lute section, and then we get some kind of transition into the metal. But he did not do that at the start. He just went straight into it. Now it especially was just like all air and there's almost no tone. It was like just the turbulence in the voice. He did it right before it to a lesser degree, and then on the word back, it was just like blah, blah. That turned your back. I love hearing him get up into that middle and upper middle chest and then, of course, high chest range because he has such great vocal efficiency, right? There's barely any air escaping. It's a very pure sound. It's the kind of sound that he could sustain a very long belt because almost no air is actually escaping through his vocal folds. And I just love hearing that efficiency. And it really does, that is very characteristic of musical theater singers and their belts. Sometimes pop singers, when they're belting, have extremely good vocal fold closure. Opera singers, we optimize for vocal fold closure throughout an entire range, or you just won't be heard over an orchestra without a microphone. So I always love some good high quality vocal fold closure, good vocal efficiency. There you go. So there's a beautiful example of like really harsh vocals. And then he jumps up to this high G, perfectly clean, just like a perfectly clean belt. Really great to see singers that can do that can go from the harsh vocals to the perfectly clean vocals seamlessly. So high A flat is the highest we've heard so far in his pure chest voice. Really nice belt all the way up to high A flat there. I was wondering if he was going to take it up to the A flat, just another half step up. But there again, there's this crazy high falsetto, really efficient sound still. Like there's still barely any air coming through, but high falsetto, gritty belt, really cool. Dan does do a little what sometimes we'll call jaw vibrato, where you create vibrato in the sound by actually moving your jaw to create that movement, that oscillation, as opposed to just letting it happen naturally. But there's so much pressure and intensity happening in that style of singing, way up in that range. He might need the jaw to create the vibrato if he wants vibrato in the sound, because there's just not a whole lot of relaxation happening in the vocal tract to achieve that kind of sound. So that could be why he uses it in those cases. Here's a clear example of it.
Watch me burn all the memories of you.
And it goes back completely, so quiet, back to complete barred arrangement, where I'm like, okay, I got to dial my volume like way back up. I want to take this whole section again, and just, it's cool to again hear this transition between his big, really intense singing and then dialing it all the way back to like the softest tones, to where, you know, even in a studio recording, I'm having to turn up to like hear the nuance. All this harsh vocal where you can hear where the pitch is going, but none of them specifically are very clearly pitched. If you have a really harsh vocal, the pitch becomes kind of amorphous because there's so much air and noise and turbulence happening in the sound, as opposed to just burn, 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 like something like that is supposed to be the pitches, but that is very unclear when the vocal is really harsh. What's crazy is actually in his true chest voice, he's singing an octave higher than what I was just doing. Burn, burn, burn. He's going burn, 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 But with the gritty vocals, it sounds much lower. If you activate those false vocal folds, you get kind of an undertone of an octave lower. So if you sing in harsh vocals, it actually sounds much lower than what your natural chest voice can do. Because like we've heard dancing, like he wouldn't be able to sing, burn, burn, burn. It's not in his voice. But with the harsh vocals, you sing an octave higher. You can kind of mimic that dark sound down there. It's really a psychoacoustic, crazy thing that happens. But anyway, back to focusing on that pitch as he ascends. So that's where he ends, right? So he does the same burn, 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 burn. But if he ends there an octave higher, that's a giveaway that he actually started kind of much higher than you expected. Really interesting. You can go back and listen to that section as many times as you want. It's what's called a psychoacoustic phenomenon.
Watch me burn all the memories of you.
I like how he didn't really pitch that last note. Burn all the memories of you is what we were expecting, but he goes, you. Just kind of throws it away. That's a really great thing to do. You see that done in a lot of musical theater pieces or other covers like this, where you want it's a very defeated feeling at the end of a song, where you're singing, and then instead of singing the last note, you just speak it. There's my buddy Brad is singing this musical theater piece in this cabaret we're doing right now with Arizona Opera and John Holiday. Very cool little program. And his last line is "Run away with me." And the whole time he's been singing, very much musical theater. Everything's perfectly pitched, yada, yada, yada. And then the last phrase, all the music cuts out, all the instrumental music cuts out. And he sings the same melody, "Run away with me," but it's much more speech-like. It's like, "Run away with me," and it's kind of like a last, I don't know, like a last thing you say as you're like kind of about to give up on someone or give up on something. So cool to see. That was a whole very tangential to say. Cool to see Dan not sing like a nice pitch on that last note and just kind of let it fall off, and it shows. I think it's Jaskier, it shows his kind of like defeatist feelings about his relationship with Geralt. You. Hell yeah. All right. Third video for Dan in the can. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you gained appreciation for his vocals. It's been a lot of fun to analyze the singer. I have actively started working on getting him on the podcast. So we'll see if by the time this video comes out, if we're any closer to that. Hopefully it'd be really cool to chat with him. Please do like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the bell, and of course consider joining my Patreon if I enhanced your Dan Vasc experience. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.